AJ asked me if I was trying to make him jealous when I showed him it's the same, pretty much the same shot we had yesterday of the boats in the water. But I didn't know it was so dreary back home. Of course, in the 50s and a lot of rain on the way. Is it raining right now, AJ?
Yes, it looks very, very sad. Very opposite of what you're looking at right now.
It's beautiful. It's 75 and sunny right now. I mean, it's just like it might as well be summertime. We get out and walk today. I think we walked about 5 miles. And it just feels good to get sun on your bones.
Yeah, I'm not jealous at all.
Don't be. Just don't be. That's the whole reason we try to pull this off. I told Jessica, so we're just going to start calling this winter camp, and we're just going to escape. We just go to winter camp and try to avoid it. But here we are, continuing to do the show live, and we'll be here all afternoon long breaking news for you and doing what we do in the Leland Live Mobile Command SWAT unit. Speaking of SWAT units, last night when we left the show, they were scrambling out trying to find what they thought was going to be a person of interest. Turned out poor old Carlos didn't do anything. Carlos like, I don't know, man. Did you see this guy get interviewed? They went and swarmed his house. He's like, hey, I just drive a truck, man. He goes, they said I look like the dude, but everybody, I mean, the poor old guy, I mean, the world was, they had all but convicted him last night on television, and it turned out he wasn't it. So a lot of activity this afternoon around that case, and it appears right now the authorities are chasing everything, which means they're not focused in a linear fashion toward making a case toward one person. This assumption that they probably have somebody and they're holding information, I don't think they do. They're chasing their tail based on the activity today alone, and we'll get into all the details of that story. But a story to me that's bumped up the list was this alarming thing that happened today. As soon as we all woke up today, one of the first stories out there was we had closed the airspace over El Paso for 10 days. I mean, that's like wartime stuff. We don't do that. The last time we completely shut down an airspace was during 9/11. So that was alarming. The government didn't give us any explanation. They just said 10 days, which is odd. You know, I could see for the next 3 hours until further notice. And they said they wouldn't even allow medevac flights. Anything moving in that airspace, they threatened to shoot down. So we had this alarm bells going off, people speculating, trying to figure out what was going on. Of course, Fort Bliss is right there, and that's one of our quick reaction force bases, and it's right there by the airport. And then the story came out that, we had to scramble some anti-drone aircraft, or we took some anti-drone activities because there had been some drones to come at us from Mexico, that these Mexican drones violated our airspace. So I'm like, wow, that's ominous too. But then they lifted the ban. Are y'all up to speed on this? So they lifted the ban, no more 10-day ban, but they went after these drones. And I got to thinking, whatever that drone technology is, may also be dangerous to other aircraft. So you got to close the airspace, because whatever you're going to deploy to confuse that drone and scramble it and bring it down could be a threat to other aircraft. Maybe it's plausible. Who knows? But then we find this out from several different sources this afternoon. What the United States military went and shot down today and caused all the alarm was actually a party balloon.
Man, you got Meemaw's 65th birthday party balloon floating in the sky, and then it gets shot down.
It was in Spanish, though, so that kind of helps me. Something años, I forgot how they say happy birthday. It was like a party. They said it was another one of those Mylar party balloons. Do y'all remember this happened when the Chinese were floating those balloons during the Biden administration, and he seemed to not know what to do? And they had these giant spy balloons with all this tech on them and the size of a school bus, and just all these Montana cowboys are out there on their horses looking up going, well, look at there, and reporting it into NORAD, and we were scrambling aircraft, and they finally shot it down over the Carolinas, and we covered that thing in detail as it floated across the country. And then there was another incident. We thought it was another balloon, and they scrambled a bunch of aircraft. I think they actually pulled a F-35 into it. I forget the aircraft. We put up these billion-dollar aircraft and shot down. The other one was a party balloon. Remember, it was some flying club. Yeah. There was some bunch of kids that did like
they had a homework assignment. Like, how do you tell the teacher, yeah, the military done shot down my homework?
No, if you remember, they had some little, little dorky aviation club, and they put up balloons for fun and did like testing or something. So they sent a balloon up, and my folks in the military just took that thing out. And so apparently this was that. Hello. I mean, all morning long, I watched the analysts. They kicked off all the TV investigators and police sleuths, all the gumshoes from the Guthrie case, off the set and pulled in all the military aviation experts. And, boy, they were doing maps like, well, if you see the base is here. And I don't blame them. You got to cover it because that was unnerving. It's like, if we're about to go to war with Mexico, what are we doing? I mean, what would be a threat on the ground? My first thought was somebody's got a shoulder-fired missile system or one of those anti-aircraft missiles has been smuggled in, and it's a threat to aircraft in the area, so they got to take all the aircraft down like 9/11. And all these thoughts are running through our head. Party balloon.
I mean, I could just imagine, like, the people are just celebrating, they're having a good time. You know, they're cooking hot dogs and having burgers and all that stuff. They just celebrated the birthday, and they release all these balloons, and then, whew, pop, 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 pop. The military's and shot it down.
Hey, wait till the Democrats in Congress get a hold of this. It's like, little 5-year-old Pepe had tied a note to his abuela who is in heaven to the balloon, and our military just shot it down and hurt his feelings. It's like, here you go, Pepe. You send this balloon into the sky, and it will go to your abuela. He's like, thank you, Papa. And the balloon floats off into the clouds, and here comes an F-35. Boom! He's like, is abuela going to get the balloon? Is she going to get the balloon now? No, I shot your balloon down there. It's crazy. What the hell kind of world are we living in nowadays?
But you know what? But here's the thing. When we had that situation with these unidentified balloons floating from El Paso, and I think with Montana, always, like you said, to the Carolina, like, it was kind of concerning because, like, no one knew what these things were. And then they were going over our military bases and stuff like that.
Yeah, we wanted all that. We wanted stuff to be shot down.
Right. Now, look, hey, y'all should have got the memo. You should have reached out to your public officials and said, hey, look, we're about to release some balloons. We're having a birthday party.
Yeah.
And we're not.
From now on, if you got a kids party and you're going to be using Mylar balloons, you're going to have to notify NORAD ahead of time, just for national security purposes. You need to register.
Right. It's like when you do a drone. Like when it's really good if you are a drone operator to get certified to understand the elevations where your drone can go and getting permission. You may have to do that if you're going to release a helium balloon now.
And then I'm sitting here going, how in the hell did that go to a 10-day shutdown? Who in the bureaucracy, some little junior Vindeman type officer is running around at the base somewhere at Bliss going, we have to do this and we have to do this now. We need a 10-day closure because he's never had the authority to make a decision. And somehow that ran up the food chain until they instituted it, put out the statement, freaked out the whole country, freaked out El Paso. There were people at airports standing around with their carry-on bags going, I can't get out of here for how long? I'm in El Paso for 10 days. And you've been to El Paso. I've been to El Paso. It's in the middle of nowhere in Texas. If you can rent a car, you got to drive 3 days to get out of Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then on top of that, it's like right on the border. So I get it, thinking it might be like the cartels and all that stuff. Because cartels will probably do some stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I know we got technology because we got satellites that can, like, beam down from the heavens above and can look at what I'm scrolling on my phone. I mean, somebody could at least known, like, hey, that's just some balloons, man. It's somebody's birthday party.
I guess on the positive side of this, if I got to look at the bright side, our military is so sensitive and are so protective of that southern border now that they can spot a party balloon, and so we're safe. Not only have we stopped millions of people from running across with bags full of fentanyl and, little kids with little stuffed donkeys full of fentanyl, not only have we stopped all that, they're not even sending a party balloon at us anymore. That's what I call border control, baby. We will bust your balloon. That's our new military motto. You remember how it used to be Army of One or Be All You Can Be? It's now like, we will bust your damn balloon. Don't mess with us. Hey, Mexico, don't start none, won't be none. We just popped your balloon.
We didn't come here to party.
Yeah. This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. The Department of War. Well, we had all kind of fun with that. That's all I got. We'll go to the very serious story of all the man. It's almost a circus atmosphere right now in this Guthrie case, which we've been following pretty closely. I got state politics. We got action on the House floor in the United States House of Representatives. We got things today, so y'all hang on, and we'll get all of it to you. 545-9950. If you got a phone call, get in here. We'll put you on the radio too. Big announcement, by the way, big announcement tomorrow in the morning at 9 o'clock on Richard and Val show. I will be joining them for this announcement. It has to do with some of our plans for this year, and so y'all want to tune in for that. Let me just remind you of that. Alabama Dental bringing you the show tonight. That is, of course, my good friend Dr. Brian. He's my dentist, but he's also my friend, and what a great guy. And so are the other dentists in that practice. There are three of them, and sometimes I forget to call all their names, but I'm telling you, these guys are so thorough with what they do in dentistry. And with four dentists, they've done everything. They've bought all the equipment, all the diagnostic stuff. They spread out their specialties so they can all handle in detail things that come through the door. And then they stagger their schedules so they can be there for you on the weekends or later in the evening when you're just chasing your tail all day trying to get the basic things done in your life and you're just exhausted, but you know you need to get your teeth checked. Well, don't put it off anymore. You've got a convenient schedule to take care of yourself, too, while you're taking care of everybody else. It's alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. Y'all get that appointment. We'll be back in a minute, lead on live from the shiny, sunny coast of Key Largo, Florida. 219, Leland Live, talking at M5, Birmingham broker next up here on the show. If you're in the business to trade a vehicle, any kind of vehicle, really cars, trucks, SUVs are their mainstay, but you'd be surprised what Craig can move for you. Every now and then he'll get into motorcycles and things like that, but I'm telling you, these guys are good at marketing, finding you a buyer, matching you up with the best offer, and just transacting the deal for you. It's nice to have people to do things for you sometimes at certain parts of life, and I'm telling you, even if you're trying to be cheap and do it yourself, this is so less stressful. And they tend to move these cars pretty quick, especially nowadays. There's been a lot of buyers to show up. It's turned into a seller's market, and you can really get top value for your ride right now with the help of Birmingham Broker, bhambroker.com, bhambroker.com, downtown Birmingham, 4th Avenue South, near our friends over at Iron City. Y'all go see Craig and Keith. And let them move that car and do all the work, and you get a big fat check, and life gets good from there. And then you can go find whatever you're looking for. If you're trading, some people just have a car they got to unload. They'll handle it for you. Birmingham Broker, bhambroker.com. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's dig into the Guthrie case. Before I do that, though, I just saw this come across. There's an actor that was on a show called Dawson's Creek, and he's only 48 years old, James Vanderbeek. He has now passed away at 48 from colorectal cancer. Y'all go get checked. I don't know much about this young man. I do know that I've seen his face. I didn't watch the show, but he's got a very kind face, and I think he was a pretty good actor and pretty well respected. Did not know that he was struggling with that, but that is surprising news. Celebrity passing here on the show as we get cranked up. Let's go to the Guthrie case and talk about whatever we know this hour. Now, many of you know by now that was a goose chase last night, but they've got to take tips, and if this guy matched the description, there were some cross-references. He's a delivery driver, which is it's sort of a private third-party delivery service that also, I think, also delivers Amazon packages from time to time. They'll do these contracts, and even though he didn't live in Tucson, he worked in Tucson, and so there is a likelihood that he could have come across Mrs. Guthrie's address. Somebody phoned in a tip, said he looked like the person in the video. I think I heard it was his mother-in-law. I don't know what's going on there, why she tried to dime him out like that. But
she don't like him.
Apparently he's getting on her nerves. She thought she had a way to get rid of him. Everybody's just taking advantage of this case. So mom-in-law dimes him out. I wouldn't want to be at their house this Thanksgiving, but wasn't him. He was very chill and calm about it, too, in the TV interviews. And so then today, craziness. I mean, just circus-like, and I hate to say it, but it is. It looks like just a all hands on deck, run down every lead kind of situation right now, which tells me they're not really moving in on anything, as I said in the beginning of the show, in a linear fashion where, say, they've got a potential suspect. They're trying to build a case toward that suspect. Keep that guy under surveillance, let him move around, see what else he does, see if he can put the case together. They'd be a lot quieter. Right now they're out publicly deployed. This afternoon they've been in an area just south or very near where Nancy Guthrie lived. It's called the Catalina Foothills, and they're out searching the sides of the roads for stuff. The presumption is, because there was a tip that came in that someone had found a ski mask that looks a whole lot like the mask that was seen in that video. Because, of course, the video coming out led to a blizzard of all kinds of tips, and they've got to do diligence to run all that down. There's going to be a lot of false tips in there or mistaken tips, and that I just can't imagine the activity back at the headquarters where they're doing this. But they deployed some federal agents out to the side of the highway, and they've been probing around looking for something on the ground. There are other pieces of information coming in tonight that maybe they're also looking for this pistol that was seen awkwardly being carried on the front of that person in the video and in the improper holster. Odd way to carry a gun. We observed that yesterday. Some analysts say that's called a Mexican carry, that somehow south of the border that's like a machismo thing to do, is carry your gun, right on the front of your belt, outside your pants. I'm not so sure about all that stuff. All I know, it's the whole thing is weird. Now, we have also learned that light that you see reflecting from his mouth, there's actually something called a bite light. And it sounds crazy, But now that I know this exists, I think I want one because sometimes I'm working on something. AJ, I'm working on something. If I could hold the flashlight with my teeth and get my hands in the air, that'd be kind of cool. So, but this thing is it's a very small light, almost like you put on a keychain and you put it in your mouth and you bite down on it and it lights up so you can see what's in front of you. And you can see that light go on and off as he approaches the house. And then you can see it go on when he's looking in the shrubs to find whatever he's trying to find to cover up that camera. Other people notice how he first approaches with his head down as if to avoid looking straight at the camera. So who knows what that was about? My gut still tells me that was just stagecraft. I'm not sure that was a serious attempt to get into that home, but the police are continuing to chase everything they can. Then there's this crypto account. Listen to this stuff. TMZ is so in the middle of the story, and there are times that I'm not sure if they're milking it for their own coverage or if they actually are really being players in this. Here's what's happened. First, they reported last night, right as the SWAT teams took off and went to poor old Carlos's house and scared the cats and ran everybody off. After that, TMZ reported that there had been activity in the crypto account that was first referenced in that very first letter to TMZ. And we had all but dismissed that account yesterday. Suddenly there's activity. Some money was passed into the account. And then there was just a storm of theories about how that would be. It could be somebody testing the account to make sure it was legit, in communication with somebody that wanted ransom in advance of actually paying a ransom. We don't know. Could have been somebody fooling around that got public information about that account and just did that outside the stream of communication that's going on with this case. It was just so bizarre. And then today, another note to TMZ, and this does seem like it's opportunistic and completely disconnected with the case, but someone sent a note to TMZ and said they know who the kidnapper is, and for one Bitcoin, not millions, but just one Bitcoin put into a whole nother Bitcoin account, they'll reveal the identity of the kidnapper. Now, that seems just like a kook thing. And then today there's just been a flurry of little small stories and activity. So you can sense how strongly the feds want to solve this case. But I'm telling you, after I woke up this morning, I went to bed last night thinking, well, they got somebody. And that'll be the beginning of getting an explanation for the country as to what we've all been paying attention to. What was this? And then it turns out it wasn't it. And they're still looking in the bushes. Here's Joe and Coleman. Let's get his 2 cents worth on it as we get cranked up today. Joe, what's going on, buddy?
Is it me, or does it just seem like it's been a while since we've had one of these cases where it's just like it just overtook, you know what I mean? The news cycle.
Yeah.
It was a mystery and intrigue and stuff. But it seems different this time. It seems like maybe it's the culture and just the mental health of people. All the nut jobs are coming out of the woodwork on this one. It's like we're attention-seeking to an nth degree, and I almost want to I want to blend it in. I heard this. I was listening to Clay and Buck today, and they talked about a New York Times study about like that the New York Times. It was an editorial that they were saying they've been wrong about weed, and I don't want to open up you know what I mean. I don't want to open up something that should. But it talked about the potency of it and how weed now is just different than what it used to be. And I think just drugs in general and the mental health of people. I mean, we've seen it just go berserk. But it seems like with this story, it's just bizarre. The things that have been coming out, and these things that are coming out, these people that are reacting to it, and I don't think they're even related to the incident at all. I think it's just people seeking attention.
There's been a lot of additional noise created by people, I think, in this narcissistic, social media-driven society of ours to jump in the middle of everything and have something to say about it. There's been a lot of that. And I don't know how much the authorities have control of and how much they can instantly dismiss, or how much of this is making their job harder. Yep, it can't help them. No. But then they have no choice, though, Joe, but to beg the public for tips. Because you got to do that when you need help.
Yeah.
Yep. And then some people are too much help. Yep.
The other thing real quick is this machismo thing. Isn't it totally contradictory to the leftists that want all these immigrants to come over here? And
this
the
is
most toxic masculinity culture that never existed on the face of the earth.
That's where the word macho came from. It's a Spanish word. Hey,
It's
has Candace Owens blamed the Jews for this yet? I mean, I'm waiting on her to get involved. I just don't know. All right, back in a minute. Thanks, Joe. There you go. Back in a minute. Y'all stay tuned. All right, y'all, 2:35, Leland Live. Let's go. Alan and Company ready for you. Just a few days, fellas, and it's Valentine's Day. Get your plans ready, and if you want to, maybe you've already done it all. You got the flowers ordered. You got the reservations ready at the restaurant. You're ready to go, but, man, you want to do something else. Run by Alan and Company. They've got gift-giving ideas in a number of price ranges, a number of different styles, different type items all throughout the store. They'll gift wrap it for you instantly. And you can go ahead and add something special to Valentine's Day. Otherwise, I've learned from Alan over the years that this is sort of there's a season for engagements that really peaks, and it kind of starts about now, and it goes through parts of spring and early summer. So if you got that in mind, or you know somebody in your family that's getting ready to pop the question, y'all work with Alan and Company and get that setting exactly like you want it. It's a custom place, one-of-a-kind design place. You're working directly with the guy who's going to produce your setting for you, and he'll get it done. Repairs, upgrades, any of the things, the normal maintenance you have to do, you got to clean those things. Sometimes you're going to break a chain or have to have something resized. They can handle it for you. Alan tries to do all this work within a week and get it right back to you. It's Alan and Company in Vestavia, right there on the Big Hill. Alan and Company. All right, this headline, and then I got to jump on Congress for a minute. The Pentagon has just ordered another aircraft carrier group to the Middle East to get into the region. It's the USS George H.W. Bush. The entire aircraft carrier group's on its way there. This as we continue to put up a mounting military presence outside of Iran over the continued tense negotiations. Trump put out a statement today about that as well, saying he hoped the Iranians would choose not to walk away from the table. Last time they did that, we had Operation Midnight Hammer, where we completely dismantled their nuclear program. So he's saying let that be a lesson. If you remember, we did a military buildup outside of Venezuela for weeks and days and weeks, and we didn't need the entire military, but then they used a very surgical operation, but the show of force and the projection of power was very similar before that operation, and now we're doing this stuff in the Middle East. So real quick update on that. Forget any other details, I'll let you know. Now let's go to Congress. The House is prepared, we believe, tonight to pass the SAVE Act. It's actually an improved version of it. It does have citizenship requirements and a requirement that states strip their voter rolls. Now, again, the federal government can't make these requirements in state elections. This is going to apply to federal elections. But it's time we all had a similar set of standards to ensure the integrity of the election. Now, the Democrats all these years have never come up with a plausible excuse to not be for voter identification. There's just no excuse. They've tried to use the racist fig leaf. That doesn't work. And then you go and poll black, Hispanic, and white voters, and most rational people of all races understand that there's a reason you present IDs, because you ought to be who you say you are when you're doing anything, when you're when you're buying alcohol or doing anything else that's where IDs are required, getting into some membership. You can't even walk into a Costco without a membership card. We require identification and proof that you are who you say you are all throughout society. One of the most sacrosanct things in the world is our right to vote, and it doesn't just prevent the cheaters, it protects us. It protects regular voters when you don't allow anybody or fake people to get into the system. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, there's stuff coming out of Georgia that's going to blow your mind. Today alone, there's a report that they've discovered 17,000 votes for Joe Biden that had no ballot associated with the vote. In other words, there wasn't a vote for Biden, but they counted 17,000 additional in the total where there was no ballot whatsoever. He did not win the state of Georgia. I'm convinced he didn't even win the election. All the stuff that happened there, that was a sort of a test lab for everything else they did in the country. And they had different methodologies for doing it, but the basic is to try to put some integrity with the force of law, not some presidential order or we can't solve this in the courts once elections are over, too. That is completely false. You're never going to uncook a cake after all the ingredients are in there once the ballots are cast. This has to be done ahead of time. We've got to have integrity on the voter rolls. Even in Alabama, we've come up with new problems that we've had that weren't discovered or known about that are being worked on. And we're a pretty tight state with those things. So anyway, y'all get the whole argument behind the SAVE Act. The problem is the Senate. There are a bunch of country clubbers over there and traditionalists. And this kind of gets down to John Thune again. Let me take you back in the hot tub time machine. What an awesome movie. And remind you of this when we were voting for the Senate Majority Leader. Remember how that fight got nasty? Our own Katie Britt was afraid to commit. She wouldn't get behind Scott. Then she pretended to be behind Scott, and then they all voted for Thune. And we warned y'all about Thune during that fight. There should have been more of an effort to get somebody that was a true believer into that position. That position is critical in the Senate. The majority leader has a complete chokehold over anything that moves in that Senate. And if Rick Scott were the majority leader of that body, the SAVE Act would get passed in the United States Senate probably by next week, period. That guy should have been the majority leader. We really messed up allowing this establishment, sort of milquetoast, moderate, French flag-waving, cheese-eating surrender monkey as the leader of the Senate. I don't trust him. I never trusted him, and here we are at a crossroads when it counts. And, again, the majority, the money crowd, got control. They always have control. They got who they wanted, and now it's going to be difficult to get this thing passed in the Senate. Maybe it'll get on fire. Maybe he'll do the right thing and let an actual filibuster take place, and then let the vote hit the floor. And the majority's there for it. There are at least 50 votes for it in the Senate. J.D. Vance would break that tie, and then we move on. But the House is going to do their part, and I applaud them for pushing it across. The only House member that did not vote for it today was Massey, who seems to have been abducted by aliens. I'm not sure that's really him. Kentucky's a weird state, man. They'll put forth some of the strangest characters in politics are right there out of Kentucky. So here's Massey voting with the Democrats in the preliminary vote to advance the bill to the floor tonight. Massey voted with the D's. But it's coming up, and it may happen while we're still on the air, and that'd be a good thing. They're trying to fast-track it to get it over to the Senate during this week and get it transmitted over so there's more time to haggle about it and get it to the president's desk. The time is wasting. We're in the election year. The primaries have basically started all over this country, and we got to get this stuff sorted out. And I'll say this, and then I want to play a soundbite for you from the floor. If Republicans don't do this in the Senate, and I'll say this declaratively, it's not only that the cheating will continue in the loose states that stuff ballots and create voters that don't exist and allow this craziness to happen to keep their own representation for the Democrats in the larger body. It's not just that will continue, and that's bad enough, but I'm firmly of the conviction that a lot of Republicans that are Trump supporters will not show up for the midterms. They'll be demoralized by the lack of fight in the party that they have no choice but to vote for. This will be demoralizing to any kind of the president's out trying to get wind at his back. I haven't even had time to go over the economic numbers today. They are incredible. Let me just add that to this conversation and to this argument. Today, the jobs numbers came in for January. The experts thought it'd be 35,000. It was 130,000. Every subsequent number is coming in exceeding the expectations and exceeding the expectations of the doubters. And in those numbers, and this is so critical, in those numbers, it was mostly private sector jobs that were created. I think 70-something thousand of those jobs were in the private sector. Much fewer were in government service. So just in the last 12 months, we are now at a 60-year low in government employment in this country. Let me repeat that. We haven't had the government labor force this low since 1966 because they're doing the right thing of purging out the excess and the overregulation and the stuff that government shouldn't be doing. It's too big, it's too bureaucratic, it's too out of control, it's too slow, it's too dumb. There's some essential agencies that need to be lean and efficient, and we should have those agencies back, things that we do need our government to do. And the Trump administration has taken this on. Not even Reagan was able to get these numbers under control like this. And the new jobs numbers today are complete reversal from what we saw under Joe Biden, which was mostly government hires. All of any employment, and he had an abysmal employment record These idiots in that previous administration try to take credit for reopening after COVID. So they go and through this ruse of COVID, shut down the whole country and then want credit for it reopening as if that was job creation. And that was people barely returning back to work. A lot of people stayed home. That's another good sign in the jobs report today that people are getting off the sidelines and going back to work. People that weren't even trying to find a job after they were handed free stuff with stimulus money and whatnot. Suddenly people are getting a little hungry again, or there's enough incentive and opportunity and enough of a reward in some people's lives that they need to go get a job and that's what we need is a productive, merit-based society where people earn their keep and pull their weight. That's how a country survives. We're heading in that direction in a very fierce way. And in the midst of all that, where Trump's got all these things on the economy, he has completely robbed the left of their affordability argument. That is dying with every single report. Every time gas goes down, every time grocery prices stabilize, every time the employment numbers look better, every time the interest rate gets a little bit better for people to make moves in their housing, it's destroying this idiotic philosophy where the left wanted to blame Trump for the affordability crisis that their government spending and inflationary president caused. So Trump's winning on that, getting ahead of that in a fierce way. They've been very vocal and public about it. But you know who's going to stab them right in the heart? You know who's going to suck all the wind out of his sails for the midterms? John Thune and those weak-willed people in the United States Senate that won't do the right thing and pass the SAVE Act. And it's one of those things where the awareness among MAGA-type supporters, Trump supporters, there is a base of people in the country that consider themselves Trump supporters that aren't really Republicans, that they feel no allegiance to have to just vote with the Republicans because they believe the Republicans are virtuous or worth anything. They're very cynical about both parties. And the Republicans need those people to show up and vote. And if they fail to do this in the Senate, it's going to keep people home. It's going to be a huge disincentive to really believe any of these yahoos that are out running around the country, running TV ads and accusing each other of nasty stuff and stuffing your mailbox full of crap and saying a bunch of stupid, posy stuff on their TV spots and all the things that they do and sling at us where, oh, they all got on a big cross and carrying a gun and they're going to fight. Everybody's going to fight and be the difference and be a change. Oh, I grew up so poor I couldn't pay attention, but now I'm a patriot and look at my gun. And I'm going to go to Washington, and we're going to clean that place up. I'm going to cut their balls off. I'm so tough. Look at me. I'm a Republican. But if they don't pass this, nobody's buying it. The people aren't buying it anyway. And they're going to sit their ass at home. The Democrats going to win the midterms. It comes down to this vote. And in a lot of ways, in my opinion, it came down to that John Thune vote when he never should have been put in charge of this process in the first place. Here's my man. I've grown to more and more like this guy out of Tennessee from up in the Tim Burchett. He's up around the Chattanooga area. He's laying down the law on this thing on ID. Take a listen to this. It's from
Thank
the
you,
floor.
Mr. Speaker. America Act will block illegal immigrants and non-citizens from voting. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there being spread by the media and my friends across the aisle. House Republicans and President Trump want to protect the ballot box and ensure integrity in our elections across this great country. Only U.S. citizens should participate in the election process. The laws we create in Congress affect all Americans, and Americans should be the ones who select their leaders. The Save America Act put in place safeguards, Mr. Speaker, to prevent non-citizens from abusing our democratic process. United States citizens should be the people choosing our elected leaders, not illegal immigrants. Now, look, I'm not a drinker. Everybody knows that. But I know if I go to Weigel's in Knoxville, Tennessee, down on the corner of Emory Road and Tazewell Pike, and if I go in there to buy a six-pack or a can of Skull or a scratch-off, dadgummit, I gotta produce an ID. When you purchase a firearm, when you board a plane, when you open a bank account, if I put $100 in the bank and then right then and ask for 20 of it back, guess what? I gotta show a dadgum ID. Why can't you vote for an elected official without one, Mr. Speaker? This legislation codifies President Trump's executive action to secure our voter registration process, which has been a key platform of President Trump this term. Democrats are lying, Mr. Speaker, saying this bill prevents minorities from registering to vote. It protects their vote. It protects every American citizen's vote. And it disgusts me, and frankly, I find it racist to assume that minorities cannot obtain an ID. We need to have the guts to stand up and protect our dadgum elections, Mr. Speaker, and that means we need to pass the Save America Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, sometimes he throws a dead gum in there, and good for him. Yeah, it's an important vote. It's maybe the most critical thing prior to the midterms that they do in either of those chambers. And they may have a floor vote on it between now and 6 o'clock. If they do, of course, I'll have it for you live, all the way live. Michelson Laser Vision bringing you the show tonight. Dr. Mark Michelson and Dr. Jennifer Michelson ready to help you see better. My own personal example is something I talk about every time I talk about with them because I really love actually being able to see 2015 all these years. It's a combination of things. It's getting all the nuisance of glasses and contacts and all that maintenance out of your life, and you actually see better with this surgery than with all those aids. You're going to see more clearly all the time, rainy situations, nighttime situations, and with the contour system, they can fix things that used to not be able to be fixed. Some people get night vision problems and they see halos at night with lights. They can fix that with the contour system. Go meet with them, talk to them, understand it, educate yourself, and let them give you a medical exam to see if you're eligible. If you're not, they've got a lot of things they can do to help you see better. But if you are, then you've got a decision to make. And I think once you feel the confidence that I felt and you know the competence and the legendary way they take care of people at Michelson, you're going to want to get the procedure, and you're going to see better. It's Michelson Laser Vision, downtown UAB Highlands, michelsonlaservision.com. Back here from Key Largo, Florida, right after this. All right, y'all, as we head toward 3 o'clock, Danny Knowles with the Knowles Group, ready to help you with any of your financial stuff, especially if you're in a position where you're trying to retire one day and you'd like to have your money managed toward that direction. Some of you have a long way to go and plenty of time to get on a strategy and get some discipline. Some of you are a little closer to that end than others, and maybe you need to be a little more aggressive or change your expectations, or just even figuring out what kind of lifestyle you need, what kind of money you would need to have that lifestyle. Can take more than just guessing at it. It can take an actual plan, and that's what they do at the Knowles Group. Not only help you figure that out, the date in the future that you would need to hit, the amount of money that you would need to hit, but how to get there and everything you can do in between, and managing your money for you so it stays on that track. They don't get too wee-weed up every time the market's up. They don't panic when it's down, because they're playing the long-term averages. And if you look at that throughout history, the markets can really produce if you know what you're doing. They know what they're doing at the Knowles Group, N-O-L-E-S, theknowlesgroup.com. Danny Knowles, lifelong friend of mine, good guy. Y'all sit down and see if it's a fit for you. Get to know him and the team. It's theknowlesgroup.com. All right, real quick, the House, just as I was on that rant about the SAVE Act, the House apparently has passed the SAVE Act. Very narrow vote that just took place, 216 to, I think, 215. So it passes and heads to the Senate. Now here comes the fight. All that stuff I was just stomping my foot about, there it is. It's on the way, and all your focus should be in that direction. Listen, I believe our senators are square on it, but you need to be in contact with them. They need to feel the heat on this stuff. I'm not an activist on the show, and I usually don't get you to call on anybody else. That's up to you. If you do it, be polite, though. I'm telling you that it's not effective to call and bark at these people. It's counter-effective. I've been in those offices when the calls come in, and it can produce some exasperation and, well, really some resentment against a voting base that's really passionate about an issue, when people feel like somehow they're going to be intimidating. That's not how it works. Let me put it this way. The people that really control these folks, they don't control them through threatening them. They're so nice to them. They take them golfing. They take them to dinner. They take them on junkets. They hire their spouses. They get them jobs. The least you can do is be nice to them, too. So reach out to them and let your voice be heard as the pressure. Because here's what happens. I do believe there's some inertia. Even if our senators are on the right side of this, if they're just going to be on the right side of it and be quiet about it, that's not enough. They need to be in Thune's face. They need to be in those meetings. And they have meetings every day in between votes, 2 and 3 at a time, sometimes caucus meetings, where they sit and they say what they're hearing back home. And they need to hear that Alabama's on fire to get this thing passed in the Senate. And so that's about the most we can do right now to try to push this thing forward. When we come back, as we get into hour number 2, unless there's other breaking news, I've got to get into this PSC thing. I've been trying to pay attention to it. The Republicans are about to ram something through that I'm not even, well, my cynical side knows why they're doing it, but it makes no sense to me about how they're trying to change the PSC. But I think it's already on that little greasy rail they have. When last time they raised our taxes, or, you know, all this other stuff where they're trying to help out the teachers union, when they go squirrely, y'all, they say they're Republicans. Okay. We'll talk about it on the other side. 545-9950 if you want to get in on it. Leland Live, Talk 99.5.